We are now live. I need to fiddle with my audio settings a bit, because I forgot to change them over from my recording settings. There we go. And yeah, we are back again for another week, though sadly, not on the dev server. I somehow missed that the dev server was not going to be open this week and only open until Friday. Yesterday. So yeah. I also originally planned to actually play some of my American battleships, but I played some battleships earlier with a couple of my friends and it just isn't great at the moment. So instead, I'll be playing the Battle Pass Murmansk, or basically the Omaha class, and with it, you know, slowly but surely work on this Battle Pass task. Also, and I need to check it out, this live stream will be a little bit of an experiment, because I've recently gotten myself a 1440p monitor, and I should be streaming in 1440p now as well. So please let me know if there's like if it looks any different compared to previous weeks. Other than that, I think we'll just jump right into it. Also, I did fiddle around a bit with my sound settings, so if the game sounds rather quiet, let me know as well. And without further ado, I think we'll just jump straight into the first match with the Murmansk. Except that Nord wants to join me. So let's do that. Already up. Or he already up. Let's get started. Encounter scuffed is not a deal start. Also, I need to switch around these ammo selections. Let's go around with that. Yeah, mostly VT for the secondaries. For me to depth torpedoes is fine. I forgot to take off the torpedo modification. I'll do that next battle. And let's get started. Right behind is Impetual also, which would mean a fall down here. It does look like it. Doesn't indeed have a search radar. Bit of a slow one, but it does have one. Not that I really need it at the moment. Let's see what's out there. Some Jabaris, some destroyers, a Moffat. I do not need manual control over my secondaries. Not in this ship. over the first salvo, and I think I'll be over the second one too. Let's not run aground. There we go. Pretty good. It's not quite Namorak, of course. And now we'll just try and get closer to the enemy. Well, it's back up to speed, but it's fine. Not sure it'd be a good target to go for as well. All fairly dangerous destroyers. Oh, he's going a lot slower than I thought he would be. And we no longer have a shot for the time being. Litter. No, it's more several things. Being a bit scuffed this stream in general. Me not being prepared for the fact there was no dev server today. I was originally going to play the American battleships, but I changed my mind because battleships are not that fun at the moment. And then trying out streaming in 1440p, but there seems to be a little problem with that, and I have to solve that after this battle as well. So in general, just a little bit of a scuffed stream. But those aren't too bad once in a while, I guess. Also not that great at this kind of shooting at this range. There goes nice to you from my squad mate. Yeah, it's just gonna be a little bit scuffed compared to my usual stuff, but not really all that bad. Keep a good eye out for enemies. Like that coastal vessel. Oh, it's Stan. Okay, okay. And I did not see any torpedoes on him. That means she might have already launched them. Put my gunners on all targets. He's already been sunk, but now I need to look out for torpedoes. For those of you that do not know, Stan is a naval tournament player, and I have faced him a couple of times. It is not to be underestimated. And torpedo trails have been a little bit difficult to spot recently, so I need to be very careful about torpedoes. Move it up ahead as well, over there on the left. So just be on high alert, really. But I get to... Oh, there they are, there they are. It's a good thing I just... actually. I wonder if it would have been fine if I stayed on course rather than adjust like that. But we dodged them by luck more than anything. We dodge them nonetheless. And that's why it's always important that if you can see torpedoes on an enemy ship, or you know where the torpedo launchers are, look for them. Look if they're actually empty or not. Like for a PT boat, they have the torpedoes on the side of the ship. And if they're no longer carrying those torpedoes, good chance they launched them already. I'll keep my gunners on all targets just in case. That Japanese destroyer should be sinking now. And let's put an aircraft only anyways. Aha. I plan to discuss submarines in a future video, but I have high hopes for them. The last year's submarine event was really great, although it was a very particular scenario which made it a very balanced event. But even if they were to just plop them in current naval game mode, I don't think it'll be that bad, really. Well, there's quite a lot of people out there, I think, reading through some of my comments of my last update summary video, that think submarines will be overpowered because World of Warships. But I don't think that'll be the case. If anything, it'll be pretty bad. Fletcher? How did I think that's Fletcher? I barely shot him. I guess it's Douglas missiles, I guess. It's kind of scary. A lot of rapid fire stuff coming from over that side. Has me a bit concerned. I'm also kind of hoping that the next update will be next week, somewhere, preferably even earlier in the week. I can start on making some more videos quickly. Because I'm planning a relatively big end of year video as well, for once. And having that update out would be very nice for it. That Clemson should be sinking, so let's shoot this undamaged Okinovoy to keep some pressure on him. Yeah. The thing is though, then I think submarines in realistic battles will really not be that big of a threat. In arcade battles though, I have no clue. That'll require some actual testing. Trying to hit the rear compartment, there we go, now we aim for the front. Well, I have an entire, well, Japanese airline to research next update too, although I'm not entirely sure if I'm going to do it. But I still have a sim setup for it, and they're all ground pounders, so it should be pretty fun in sim. But we'll see when I get to that. I think my first priority though will be getting the Rodney, because that'll be a very cool ship to own. Okay, what is shooting me there? It's a Kelp? Or Brissenden? Also, I've been playing too much Scharnhorst and I'm being way too aggressive in this ship. I see a PT boat. So I'm just gonna call it out, so my teammates are aware that there is a PT boat in the prow. Slow down a little bit more. Not quite sure why he's shooting his 37s at me, they don't really do that much damage. Well. They've been really nice with those ammo racks, but they didn't. And I'm pretty much in a clear again. British destroyer is shooting me. He will be next. The British destroyers, you always want to aim underneath the front turrets because their magazines are exposed. Get to the secondary mag. Need to aim a bit more forward, I think. There we go. Stan and the Frank Knox is next. The Frank Knox, you aim for the rear turret because that is actually vulnerable. Torpedoes out against me, I assume. There we go. Turn hard left to avoid possible torpedo threat. And we will be fine. Torpedoes from ahead, but they were slow. Luckily, dodged them by pure chance. That is why you change speed and heading. How did that torpedo not kill me? Okay. It's fine. Ask ahead. If you have any questions about naval, I am here to answer them to my best of my ability. There's some air guns. Let's have the radar up, and he is indeed correct. B-25 is a bit of a weird plane to spawn for naval. Yeah, well. And there goes damage to him as well, buddy. He's too far out to have bombed me. He's diving, but that doesn't look like a recoverable dive. Not to me, at least. Here come the 37s again. That is not what's going to sink me, dear German player. But they sure are annoying. Trying to get the rear turrets, but it didn't get the proper lead for it. Why is he not shooting me with the 128s? Sure, they don't have proper AP, but the Omaha's not that armored. He's repairing his engines immediately as well, which is not the best idea. There we go. Thank you, Nord. Another kill. Lamson, French looter thing. No real big threats. You've got another aircraft approaching, but it's Stuka. I am going to put my gunners on him. But he's not going to get through 2 Murmansks, I believe. Where did the British destroyer go? No, well. Oh, that's a German one. There's P3 up as well. The Hipper Spain Nuremberg lineup is very good. It's okay. Yeah, you know what? Even for 5.7, very good. The Spey arguably, not the Spey, the Hipper arguably shouldn't be a 5.7 if I can actually perform. The Spey is a bit wishy-washy. All of them are relatively easy to ammo rack, but the German 5.7 lineup is a pretty strong lineup. Nuremberg is pretty fun with its rapid-fire 6-inch guns. Spey can be pretty interesting with the heavy 11-inch guns, although they're not quite good enough to deal with battleships. But they can do some heavy damage against cruisers as well. And Hipper is a really good heavy cruiser. Water fire. We're still, he's, yeah, still not fine. That guy is shooting us, the Fletcher. Somehow detonated looks. Yeah, the Nuremberg is the best of those German scout cruisers, because it has an increased rate of fire. And that increased rate of fire, you really notice it. It's fast. And that's me dead, I think. I'm curious if it's actually the Fletcher that sunk me or something else. A few more salvos away to Fletcher though, before I go down. It was a cowl. Ah, the Fletcher, yeah. I'll just spawn Murmansk again. Because why not? Bit far from the combat now, though. This is a bit of a weird map to get in a 5.0 to 4.0 match. Well, thank you, Nord. Because I'm pretty sure we were the only... Actually, no, they had a Yubari. But other than that, I think we were the only cruisers. There's the British destroyer. Pretending to be one of the convoy ships. Ammo rack is roughly 0.75 in front of the center. So 0.75 in front of center. Let's see what that salvo does. In the meantime, we just keep looking around for targets. Ooh, hold on. About to say I don't think we'll have any valid ones, but here we do. Let's put in all targets. And get our guns ready. There we go. Guns to air targets only again. Let's put your radar up. And actually, no, it's 20-kilometer range, that's fine. British destroyers on the move. And now we just wait until we can get closer to the enemy, really. Maybe shoot up the Zamden a bit. And maybe swap back to the sap rounds. Do you happen to have the S701? That Battle Pass German PT boat? Because I believe that one is actually pretty good. I think it has one of those rapid fire 37s. If you don't have that one... Oh, which one is it again with the rapid fire 37 in the tech tree? I think they renamed it recently as well, it's not the S100. I need to check. But that one is a pretty good choice if you only have low-tier boats. Probably 147. It's the one of the Flak Lafayette, I think, or is it? No. I don't know. I need to think. I need to look it up again. But whichever of the S boats is the one of the rapid fire 37 on the rear, that's a good choice if you don't have much in the coastal tree. Of course, ideally for a 5-7 lineup you'd have the PR206, but that would entail grinding up all the way to top tier coastal, which is not great. There's the Yubari. And look at Bill. There's a Presendon over there. Also, to be perfectly honest, anti-air firepower is not a concern for battleships nowadays. It is incredibly rare to see somebody pull out an aircraft. In RB, at least, in realistic battles. Arcade battles is a very different ballgame for aircraft. Yeah. It is a bit funny for us to just have another Congo as an event ship. And even funnier being the 7th out of 8 Japanese 14-inch battleships that we now have. Just funny. I mean, I'm not complaining about another Kirishima, but on the other hand, I'd actually like it for us to have something other than an event battleship for once. Guy wants to fight with me, so I'll give him one. I think event... Nagato as an event would be weird because they don't technically do top tier event rewards, although Congos are top tier event rewards kind of, but not really. Weird. It's a bit of a weird thing really, because I always want to have a top tier event reward when it comes to this winter event. Battleships are just not fun to play. I'm going to get Kirishima because one, my winter break starts actually on the 20th. So that's great timing for me. And two, I am still a Japanese main, so I am going to get it. But getting Kirishima is definitely just for collection purposes for me rather than anything else. Although it will be incredibly funny to have a full 7-0 Congo lineup now. But then the question is, why on earth would you take 3 Congos when you have an Amagi and a Nagato? What's a... And game over, time ran out. There's a few things I have to do right at the moment, so let me just quickly... Also, that's nice. What is going to check out? German coastal first. To answer a few questions. S147, is that the one? No, that's not the one. It is the S100 then, is it? Yeah, it is. This 37? Fantastic gun for coastal. Genuinely. So I'd take this S100 if you have it for a coastal lineup. If you don't aren't very far in the tree. Karl Marx is not really the best thing to grind the coastal trio because squadron vehicles don't get premium bonuses. So it's not a particularly good grind. A 4.0 frigate and a mediocre one at that is also not going to be very fun. Also seeing as it's 4.0, you'd actually want to pair it up with Z15. Would be a good idea, but then of course Z15 you don't get any research for coastals, which is a thing. But yeah. It could work. What I would do, instead of like hard grinding with it, is just spade Karl Marx, and the spading bonuses will get you a long way. I haven't actually played the ship at all yet, but as you can see, it's almost, what is that? So roughly 20k, like 35,000. Actually, there it says 37,000 bonus RP just for spading it, and of course, by spading it, you get 186,000 RP as well. But you need to be careful with rank penalties. Although at rank 4, and if you're already in rank 3, it won't be a big rank penalty for research. It's not a bad idea to grind with it, but I wouldn't grind the entire tree with it. Then on to other questions. Also, Clips Films, that has been a bug for several months now, where bombs don't seem to fuse properly every now and then. It's really hard to recreate though for bug reports, but I will. So that was that. Another thing I have to do real quick is my YouTube is screaming at me that I'm doing something wrong, so let's see if I have these buttons correct. One moment as I fix that. And I see that that is wrong as well now, so as I said, scuffed stream. Bear with me for a second. What is this? Let's see if I can change this on the fly and not screw everything up. Where is it? Let's see if I can do this without screwing shit up. And if this will work or not. Okay. Let's go back to our stream stuff. YouTube should stop screaming at me. Hello there. And let's see if this helps stuff. I need to go back to my Russian lineup. And I need to do something else as well, because YouTube is still screaming at me, so just bear with me, please. I think I'll just have to leave it at this, unless... No... Well, it's not more YouTube having issues, it's more me having skill issues at streaming. Because I think I just completely forgot to change the resolution settings for the stream. Aha. That's what's up. And I can't change that on the fly, can I? I cannot. Well, that'll be it. That'll be something for next stream then. And I also need to change that BRB screen at some point too. Now I just noticed that what I tend to do for my streams, and I'll, as soon as he readies up, is he... Are you ready, Nord, for the next match? Just type in the chat whenever you are. If you're still in there. There we go. So I've... what I tend to do during my streams, I put it on very low latency. So I can react, so you can hear my reaction to questions in chat as soon as possible. But it seems that ultra low latency does not support 1440p. So yeah, and I cannot change it whilst streaming. So that'll be something for next week. Okay, you ready? Let's go then. Also completely skipped over the question of whether I use HG or AP on the 37s. I tend to use AP belts for coastal, because they'll go through coastal ships when they're bow into you. Although I've noticed that, you know, a mix of HE and AP can do wonders, especially against broadside targets. HE will do a lot of work. Or even against bow-in targets they can do a lot. They can take out gun turrets, bridges, you know. Atlanta up tier, not a big up tier, but still. And I forgot to take away the torpedo range mod. Thank you, Nord. It usually is. It's my personal ideas about it is just it's always easier to, you know. I'd rather have pen over damage potential or over filler, because there's no use in filler if you cannot pen, if you cannot reach the targets you want to hit, the internals you want to hit. Is that a Miyoko? Those are two Miyokos. Yeesh. Who knows? It's a bit annoying that the dev server closed that early, because I didn't really take a proper good look at everything. I did take a bit of a look at Rodney, but I didn't look too closely. And Rodney looks fairly promising. Fairly long reloads though. But the magazine is incredibly deep in the water for Rodney, so it's never going to get detonated. Unless torpedoed. The Z-15 is a really fun destroyer. To me, it's probably the most my favorite German destroyer. Those Miyokos are not great, not great. And our Atlanta got sunk by an Abdil. Impressive. Now luckily, they're just Miyokos, and Miyokos are incredibly fragile ships. So all I need to do is just shoot them. And even an Omaha will outgun a Miyoko. If I can actually get to the engine compartments, that'd be nice, but I don't think I will. There we go, transmission. Okay, what's in front of me now? Okay, that's just an Omaha. For a second I thought there was another Miyoko with that camo pattern on it, but it isn't. Got a Kako up ahead as well. There is a Yudachi over there as well. Let's see if I can get on this cap in one piece.
We've captured most of the strategic zones.
If this Omaha doesn't interject. I mean, yeah, I still don't think the Karl Marx is not gonna be great. You might as well. Okay, that was a Miyoko salvo. I'm gonna stop the repairs. I'm just gonna capture the point. That's gonna be my priority. Hopefully not get detonated through the bow by the 8-inch shells of Miyoko. And we'll see from there. But the cap is most certainly top priority. Got a London RT, good. Zone captured. I'm expecting a full torpedo salvo from this Yudachi over here as well. And it is a Yudachi. There's a Miyoko on the other side of the island from me now as well. I'm actually going to launch some torpedoes on the other side of the island. Just, you know, in preparation. The Diana class, the Daring class, you need to aim for the rear turret as well. So let's try and do just that. And maybe, hopefully, get out of the gun range of that enemy Omaha. But I get a feeling we won't get there. Bit too far forward for the Amarex on that Moffat. Come on, survive for one more salvo. And hope for a popping Moffat. Ah, darn. What does this thing actually get? 2 500s. The Miyokos have way too much anti-air for me to even attempt that, so I won't. In one salvo that Miyoko lost almost half its health. But that is just Miyoko things. There goes, I assume, a torpedo impact on the Murmansk. Which why, you know, torpedoes in no particular target can sometimes work. As long as you know what you're roughly aiming at. That Miyoko might be sinking, but I didn't believe it. Looks like it. That's good. Enemies capturing the A point, which might be the other Miyoko that I haven't seen again, unless I missed it in the kill feed. There were 2 Miyokos going over there, and I'm no longer seeing them. There's one of them, the one I shot earlier. Got the other Miyoko from flooding. Yeah, we need one of those American fast battleships at one point, and there is indeed a Miyoko on A. But that 3-man squad in my team is indeed a 3-man squad of Miyokos who are not having a great time. Was it a torpedo or was it an Amarak? I'll have to find out after the battle. Let's try Tisma, I guess. The Miyokos are really not going to be great for, you know? No, let's try something funnier. I have torpedoes equipped. We are going to hunt ourselves a heavy cruiser. 1 meter depth torpedoes are not ideal, but it should be fine. E7. I'm just gonna tell you right now, coastal is never gonna be easy to grind, and that Miyoko is already fucking staring right at me. And pardon my language. There he goes. I won't be able to surprise him around that island. He'll know I'm coming. Although if he's reversing, that's the other Miyoko capturing the B point, I'm guessing. No, they're both over there. Where is this guy? Yep. Gonna try and torpedo one of them, at the very least. As long as the Frank Knox doesn't spot me. Actually, hold on, isn't it within artillery range? It is. There we go. FYI, artillery range for coastal vessels is usually around about 2 kilometers. So if there's an enemy vessel within 2 kilometers of you, you can arty it.
Attention to the designated grid square. Attack the B point. Enemy forces have captured the goal.
Local latest smokescreen is retreating. He's no longer paying attention to me, that's for sure. There's a second Miyoko. It's gonna be dicey. Very, very dicey. That guy's actually retreated behind cover, so that guy's the next target, but the 25s are already opening up. One torpedo now, because I will not guarantee that I can survive this run. There we go. One torpedo's out. He's turning in because he saw my torpedo. And Tisma not having a bomb sight is not gonna help me. I might change it out for something else, actually. Let's just make it so we drop both at the same time. And we're going to use this island to try and get as close as possible, but I get the feeling the second I pop up over that island, those 25s are going to tear me apart. I'm also not that great at dive bombing in naval, so I'll have to find out what's gonna happen. Come on, come on, come on, there's the 25s. Dodge and weave, and immediately blown to pieces. And that's me out. That's, yeah. I definitely need a different aircraft.
Destroy the target.
So yeah, let's, I think my teammate is also out. No, not quite. He survived for much longer than I did. Granted, if it didn't get detonated in my second Murmansk, I might have survived a bit longer as well. That's 92. Let's see if we can find him. There he is. You're already getting TF'd there. And missiled! Do they have a Bravi? They do! Well, back to hangar it is for me. And now that I am back in the hangar and have some time, I will remove the torpedo mode modification. So let's do that first. That is Disma and not the Murmansk. There we go. Torpedo mode uninstall. Thank you. And at the same time, let's remove Tisma. I need something for bomb sight. So sadly, I don't have many great strike aircraft. Tempted by the AR2 because I've used this for lower BR lineups. 3500s bomb sight is a very fun loadout. Very quick as well. And he's ready up. Yep. Off we go to the next one. And hopefully a little bit better than the last one. Where you don't have to face 3 Miyokos. Encounter Black Sea port, not great. Nobody I recognize. Yukumo is 4-3. York is 5... Actually, York is 5-3, isn't it? It's not 5-7. Rammer Atlanta, that's never great to see. Moffat. Let's slow down a bit. Well, that answered our question what kind of matchmaking this is. 5-7. Eugen. The York, seemingly not realizing that our objective lies south, is just going straight, which means I cannot turn to it. So I have to stop. The Murmansk is even turning, not Murmansk, the York is turning north. So is the Eugen. Again, our objective lies south, not north. But oh well. Осталось Shimakaze Chapayev. The 6-0 matchmaking. And full forward again we go. I don't like being the receiving end of that Chapayev. It seems my guns cannot penetrate it either. Not really, at least. Not quite sure where I'm taking fire from. It might actually be the AI Kafkas there. I think it was a Chapayev, which is going to be troublesome. Shimakaze is closing the distance quickly, making it an easier target. So I'll go for it instead. Let's repair some of my guns. Not entirely sure which one's broken. It's the rear one. And now we just have to try and make it to cover. And I think it'll be that island to my front left. We're dying. It seems like it. Although I'm still not entirely sure what's every now and then shooting at me. That's a Baltimore class as well over there, to the left, over here, which is dangerous too. And from what I saw, we don't really have that much of a 6-0. Oh, we do have a Sverdlov as well. We don't have the greatest 6-0 presence, while they seem to have already 3 6-0 cruisers. Shimakaze is actually opening up on me at the moment. And Shimakaze will be going down. Next to destroyers ahead of us. And the Eugen already got sunk. Not great. Non-pants? I guess he just bounced off his deck. Because there's not much of an armored belt for me to bounce off on a Moffat. Shooting over, even though I'm really aiming quite low. I guess I just have to aim lower. And keep going this direction. Ouch. I'm taking heavy fire from a Wilkinson. Though luckily it seems to be mostly HE and not doing anything to me. I think that's not enough. Actually, no, that's pretty decent. A little bit too far forward for my liking. Taking some heavy damage. Let's see if we can sink him quickly. Although this Moffat needs to be dealt with as well. I often like switching between targets, especially if I'm getting shot at by multiple targets, as a way for, you know, to get them repairing, to get them damaged, to get them thinking about maybe not shooting me all the time. Because every now and then you'll have enemies that as soon as they get seriously damaged, they'll just stop shooting, they'll smoke up, they come to a halt, they try and disengage as much as possible. But well, once a threat is always a threat, and it seems that the Wilkinson on my flank got sunk by my squad, maybe it was also not shooting AP at me. Also, for some reason my fire extinguishing is no longer automatic, so let's change that again as soon as I deal with this fire. It should be sinking, but I'm going to try and get the finishing blow on him. Never mind, the Bruffy does, that's fine. That's an AI SKR, so not the biggest worry. This is also another reason why I don't go north when my objective is south. Because then the enemy cruisers that go north will just fight each other. I need to try not beat myself, but I see that my bridge is knocked out now. A little bit too late. So I will run myself into an island. A Moffat stationary in spawn. Ammo is about half away from the center. A bit more actually. So let's see what the lead indicator says. A bit halfway, there we go. And let's see what its salvo does. A bit too far behind actually. Bridge is back up, so we have full control. And full forward again. So I was getting shot from with something on the flank, which is that Lashnikov. I'm also horribly missing my shots against this Moffat. There we go, some first hits in. And our cruiser's still dying to theirs. We're actually in a severe ticket disadvantage. Seems like they shot a few of our cargo ships already. Their cruisers are all behind an island. Where are they? There they are. That's where they're shooting from. Unless you're talking about their convoy ships, which are there. But it seems it already doesn't matter because you got SKR'd. I'm flooding severely, but not quickly enough for it to really be a problem. My Bravi meat shield, on the other hand, will sink soon. And I need to get myself into cover. They're just shooting from their spawn. And there's another Moffat shooting from over there. And now I'm target number 1 for their cruisers over there. Because our 6.0s are just not doing anything. Well, they're doing their best, I guess, but not good enough. This cover is also not tall enough for me to hide behind unless I really hug the island. But I think I'm already a bit too late to try and do that, but it's worth a shot. Undamaged, practically. Undamaged, behind an island, shooting literally everything that moves out of spawn. And nobody's done anything, because they just keep dying. I'm getting shot by Voroshilov, 11 kilometers away. And the Moffats. And there we go. What I could try and do, and to have a bit of fun, is try and just sneak in with the 1, 2, 3. And not up north, we'll just sneak through the coastal area. Because I already know if I respawn in Murmansk, I am not having fun. Trying to fight his 5.7s and 6.0 cruisers.
Attack the enemy!
Цель. Эсминец.
And our one Sverdlov got sunk or all finished off by a Moffat, because of course. I highly anticipate this PA to get SKR'd out of the sky. Let's see if that guess will be true. And if he's actually going for the enemy cruisers, I wish him good luck going through Pittsburgh, say, eh? But let's see what happens.
Цель. Эсминец.
Okay, the Moffat is getting a bit close, so we need to get into the... And there he goes, P8 got SKR'd, as I thought he would. SKRs being that accurate is still rather nonsense, but no well. Also, I realized that I probably should have switched to 4-meter depth torpedoes against those convoy cruisers. But I think no matter what, this game is over for us. And a victory for the enemy team.
Право руля.
Тяжелый крейсер. Слева. Дистанция 11 000.
Цель. Легкий крейсер.
That Moffat is probably going to be a problem for me.
Эсминец. Слева. Дистанция 3000.
So if I'm lucky, and if he doesn't have his AA gunners on all targets, I might just slip past him. Or maybe even torpedo him. His torpedo range, 4 kilometers, great. Just try and sneak past all of these ships, but no matter what, I can't turn this game around anymore.
Лево руля.
An AI PR206 is not a great thing to see right now. Luckily, is not hitting that well. Please don't have your gunners on all targets. It looks like we'll make it through. Oh, really? Please don't notice me. Please don't notice me.
Цель. Катер.
Дистанция 2000.
Take him down.
At least until I get my torpedoes away. That's all I need. I want to go for destroyers because they'll probably actually sink if I hit them with a torpedo. I know there's 40 miles on my right, on my left rather, so it probably means he's noticed me. There we go. Now we can start returning fire. Smoke to get away from the convoy. Do absolutely nothing with these guns because they're pitiful.
Трюмной группе осушить отсеки. Трюмной группе.
And trade at least. And my torpedoes are away. And hello there, Nameless. I really don't want to respawn in anything naval at the moment, because their cruisers just have our ships on lockdown. I did notice that the SKR in the middle of the map got killed a while ago. So let's see what happens. There should be more than enough time for my torps to hit their fleet. And hopefully that'll happen before they'll kill our fleet. I mean, the thing is, our side could technically use the same island they're using, but it's a lot harder. So yeah. But this island here is like a key position for battleships and cruisers on this map, because it's tall enough to actually provide really good cover. Torpedo hit on the first destroyer. and has a demand, like a commanding enough position on our south spawn for destroyers, and of course our normal spawn as well. Whilst we, now that I look at it, actually don't have any cover at all unless we use that island against them, but it's very difficult if they're behind it and we are at our spawn. And I think they spawn a lot closer to it as well. They spawn... Actually, they spawn over here, don't they? They have a straight line to it. There goes a second torpedo hit. Also, their fleet is right next to their airfield. I just need to keep climbing. But I don't think I have the time for it to climb to 5 kilometers up. But oh well. I get the feeling my torpedoes are also not effective enough to actually sink those destroyers, sadly. We'll see what happens in the next few minutes. This was pretty rough matchmaking for us, although. They just had more and better cruisers, I guess. They do have a pretty good spawn location from that island cover. But oh well, naval and slightly imbalanced maps. What is new? And a half minutes remaining. Would be really funny, wouldn't it, Viking? The more map improvements. Oh, that's something I completely forgot to mention. Like I mentioned earlier in the stream, I'm working on a end of year video where I kind of do a year in review, and I completely forgot about the map improvements to mention that. So I have to write that down. So don't forget. And that's the battle pass challenge done already. Okay. And that was for that one, of course. Yeah, I got first place in that match somehow, and a 6-0 up there. A 5-0 ship gets top place. Always great to see. This one will take a little bit longer to complete. But let's see, what did I get myself? You know what, let's do that later. And there we go, some more SL. And let's just keep going, I guess. I'll get to that later as well. And let's just go. Japanese port as a cruiser is not fun, because you have to spawn down south and cross the open ocean to, you know, to get to the fun parts. Mature Kafkas. Let's see what kind of matchmaking we get, I guess.
Боевая готовность номер 1. Боевым сменам заступить.
Угроза столкновения!
Самый полный.
Konya is 5-3. Fletcher 4-7. Bravi is 5-3. Graf Speer is 5-7. So we got another up tier, but we're only 5-7. Being a Graf Speer is not a good sight. Also, why did Destroyer spawn over here? Why did the Mixture and a Fletcher spawn over here? Why?
Боевая тревога.
And they have a Hipper, they have an Emden, Omaha. Oh, I keep forgetting Enterprise.
Легкий крейсер.
Not the worst. The Hip. I really hope that the Spey will deal with the Hipper. Other than that, balancing doesn't seem that bad. Ooh, I probably should have actually just sit back and let my plane capture the sea point. I think I'll get to that at a later point. That guy needs to get focused though.
Легкий крейсер.
Attack the enemy!
But that's not our job. Our job is to deal with the other cruisers, and I think I'm already gonna start turning around because I should not be taking the lead in this. I will just get melted. There goes the first fire.
Легкий крейсер.
I think if I get sunk in Murmansk very quickly, I'll just spawn into the destroyer to go with me to Tashkent. It will be a lot more fun as well.
Приступить к борьбе за живучесть. Дымовую завесу поставить.
We'll start the smoke screen. Keep turning away. Until they are right behind us. So that the smoke screen can actually do its work.
Прямо руль.
Enemy forces have captured that zone.
Трюмной группе осушить отсеки. Лево на борт. Лево руля.
Smoke screen's already run out. And I am going to retreat back to my spawn.
Цель. Эсминец.
Now the Fletcher can take all of their firepower instead.
Цель. Легкий крейсер.
Дистанция 9000. Живой корабль. Верен. Стоп. Дистанция 11000. Противник сбавляет ход. Наблюдаю крен и дифферент. Внимание! Имеется искусственное повреждение. Есть поражение.
There goes that Murmansk.
Верен. 80. Дистанция 10000.
Цель. Тяжелый крейсер.
Верен. 80. Дистанция 11000.
Цель. Эсминец.
Treaty are a heavy cruiser on their side, so they already have the firepower advantage for the moment. I think they actually just have the firepower advantage.
The enemy's getting closer to victory.
Внимание! Имеется искусственное повреждение.
It seems the enemy Emden has its sight on me, seeing that I'm low health.
Прямо руль.
Руль прямо. Попадание. Эсминец. Верен. 60. Дистанция 10000.
Лево руля.
Руль лево. Внимание! Критические повреждения.
Перелет. Есть попадание. Трюмной группе осушить отсеки.
Есть накрытие.
What I think I'm going to do is I'm going to launch one of my planes towards sea in the hopes to capture it. drop the bombs because they're just useless weight. Get to an altitude of about 50 meters, level off, and let the plane do all the rest of the flying.
Цель. Легкий крейсер.
Вперед. 60. Дистанция 10 тысяч. Эсминец. Вперед. 60. Дистанция 10 тысяч. Есть накрытие.
Лево на борт.
Лево на борту. Перелет.
That friendly Murmansk is taking the direct route to the sea point, but I somehow doubt he'll survive for long enough. Nice job sinking the Eugen. Nord. That's always great to see. My plane is nearing the sea point as well as some other ships.
Стоп, машины.
Противник вставляет ход. Наблюдаю крен и дифференц.
Let's see about landing this. Where did my plane even go? Well, I won't land on C anytime soon, so let's fly this plane over to A instead. But that's also being decapped, so let's just send it off somewhere.
Most of the strategic zones are captured.
Цель. Легкий крейсер.
Вперед. 60. Дистанция 9 тысяч.
I kinda wish they did a bit more with the AI for scout planes. Because what I really want to do at this point is just make that plane climb, which it for some reason isn't. Okay, straight into the mountain. I'd love for it to climb up to like 1,000 meters altitude just to get myself some reconnaissance. But oh well.
Those captured, we have the advantage.
Легкий крейсер. Вперед. 80. Дистанция 7 тысяч.
Аварийной и трюмной группам приступить к борьбе за живучесть.
Противник сбавляет ход. Наблюдаю крен.
5 non-pens on the Murmansk. Impressive.
Право на борт.
I think it's now safe again for me to come from out behind this rock.
Прямо руль.
If anything, I'm actually just falling behind now.
Вперед. 40. Дистанция 10 тысяч.
So where's Prince Eugen? What was his name? What did that guy do this match? Not an awful lot, seeing that it's like one of the only 5-7s in this match. I expect an Eugen to do a lot more damage than only 700. Why is my plane going down every time I look at it? Emden is still there at quite close range, so let's engage it.
Легкий крейсер.
Вперед. 80. Дистанция 6 тысяч.
Все машины назад.
Есть поражение. Попадание.
Some heavy flooding on his Emden. I think it's going down permanently. Yes, it is.
Вперед. 80. Дистанция 10 тысяч.
Цель. Сторожевой корабль.
Вперед. 80. Дистанция 10
Let's see what we can do to this British
сбавляет ход. Наблюдаю
battle class. getting a lot of non-pens because I'm hitting the water rather than the ship.
Есть попадание.
He's turning in.
Есть накрытие.
And my plane is heading right for the mountain again. Let's just send it off to the enemy fleet. They can have it. The guy took a backup in Zeugen.
Есть попадание.
I'm still horribly overshooting my targets. I thought I sent that guy into the enemy fleet, not my own fleet. Let's see, is it Jürgen shooting me? It is Jürgen shooting me. I'm just gonna accept my fate at this rate.
Противник сбавляет ход. Наблюдаю крен и дифферент. Эсминец. Дистанция 7000. Внимание! Критические повреждения в машину. Корабль потерял ход. Перелет! Внимание! Критические повреждения. Есть накрытие.
Трюмной группе осушить отсеки.
I do not know what is up with my gunnery at the moment, but I just cannot hit this battle class for the life of me.
Спасательные средства на воду.
Есть поражение. Вода в отсеке. Внимание! Несколько отсеков полностью затоплены. Приборы и устройства выведены из строя. Корабль теряет плавучесть. Недолет!
Well, a few shells off, but it's probably not going to hit anything. Now, Tashkent. Let's see if this ship will be a bit more fun. And I forgot to change my spawn point, so what I'll do is I'll just J out and use a backup.
Тревога.
Because I'm not spawning a destroyer down there. There we go.
Лево на борт. Цель. Катер.
Терен 40. Дистанция 4000. Впереди передняя.
Прямо руль.
And a torpedo in spawn. Lovely. That's me out and back to the hangar. I really don't like Japanese sport when I'm playing anything other than destroyers. And even then. When? But bit difficult because I actually don't know either. Do I have any special task running? No. Let's do some warp on shop things at the moment then. Yeah, I'll do that later. Yeah, when to spawn a coastal vessel? Usually you just spawn it first, get to the coastal caps, and get those first. Because the problem I have with coastal spawns is that they're taking away a heavy fleet unit if you spawn them, and if you stay in them for too long and at the wrong times. And having, let's say, a heavy cruiser more or less than the enemy team, as you might have seen in the last few matches, does mean a lot. So when you spawn a coastal vessel, you do have to be very, on the ball of what do you want to do with it. If you're playing 4.0, which I think you are at the moment with the Karl Marx, that you're just grinding a coastal tree. The difference between spawning a destroyer and a coastal vessel at that point isn't that great. It just depends on what you want to actually research. Because I'm also of the personal opinion that if you're grinding coastal vessels, I don't really care about winning more than just getting as many research points as possible into your coastal vessels. Which, if that means that you can only spawn your coastal vessels and maybe not as efficient as spawning a Z15 than your coastal vessel, you'll be grinding a lot quicker if you just spawn your coastal vessels. Now let's see if the next match will be a bit better. Fiji with cruisers. Ugh, that's not going to be great either, is it? .50 Fiji. Ugh. At 5.7 that's difficult. Because I personally don't actually take coastal vessels with me in higher BR blue water lineups. Because I just purely don't see the point. I personally don't care that much about the difference between winning and losing. When I grind a ship, it's just doing as much as possible in that ship/ship type. So, whether I win or not, meh. If anything, sometimes I actually dislike people coastal capping because it ends the match quicker. Which leads to less RP. So I'm not really the best guy to ask about when you should spawn your coastal in a blue water match. Because I personally don't do it, nor do I really see the point in it. Well, I do understand why you would do it, but... I wouldn't. Not many heavy fleet assets on the enemy team yet, a few cruisers here and there. But no, like, really annoying destroyers like Moffats. Trying to find a good target I can start shooting at. Didn't really want to do cross-map sniping. That guy might be interesting. And Amaranth. Gonna load the HE for that floatplane. If it decides to land. If the game decides for me to be able to lock onto it. And he's already been sunk. Well, shot down, not sunk. Köln, is that a frigate Köln or the cruiser Köln? That's the cruiser. And that was a pretty lucky Amaranth, but I will not be complaining about it. Yeah, higher tier jets are also not really my cup of tea. Especially in realistic battles. I've been trying to get into sim more for that kind of battle rating for aircraft. But I, yeah, don't play aircraft all that often, and sim. And sim as well. I need to play sim a bit more every now and then. It might also just be the case that I'm just not good at sim. Probably why I don't play it as much as I should. My aircraft grinds. Okay, there goes my engine. I'm assuming it's the Kafka shooting back at me, which seems to be the case.
Аварийные трюмные группам приступить
That's all my
к борьбе за
transmissions.
живучесть.
Allied forces have captured a zone. Allied forces have captured a zone.
Есть попадание.
Manchester will be going down very quickly. Next will be this Presenden.
Наблюдаю крен и дифферент.
Машины вперед. Аварийной группе ликвидировать пожар. Лево на борт.
There we go.
Цель. Эсминец.
Now we're going to turn hard left. Get ourselves to the B point. We've got some hostile coastal vessels doing some stuff. And that thing is kind of dangerous, so let's just kill it as well. There we go. That guy is out now, I think, as well. Yep, out of ships.
Цель утратила боеспособность. Попадание.
Taking a lot of damage, my bridge is out, so my turning radius is slower.
Эсминец.
This British destroyer is also not helping things.
A little more effort, and victory will be ours.
And detonate it. Because that's what you do to British destroyers, you just hit her front ammo rack.
Цель. Легкий крейсер.
Есть попадание.
Torpedo, but we're fine, luckily. Because usually in realistic battles, when you hear the torpedo siren, it's already way too late. And I see a second torpedo heading straight for me. The engines are going to eat it, but I do not have the crew. I do have the crew to deal with that. SKRs being a pain. Need to stop the repairs to deal with fires, then flooding.
Цель. Сторожевой корабль.
The thing is, the flooding from the torpedo will be permanent because it knocked out the whole segment.
Enemy forces have captured a
So the list is going to be permanent until it sorts itself out, which means my guns are useless.
Трюмной группе.
And not enough crew members now. Ah, the pretty tube is not fixed on that side either. Darn.
Торпедные аппараты. До.
But this is what we have high angle portimals for, but yeah. French torpedoes sunk me, okay. Back up Murmansk, really, because the enemy doesn't seem that heavy in the cruiser division. So let's just keep up with the heavier firepower.
Цель. Легкий крейсер.
I think you're kinda far out there on the flank, aren't you, Nord?
Прямо руль.
Might be time for you to head back to the capture point.
Боевая тревога.
Problem is they're about to capture the C point as well. If nobody synced that Frunze. Bit of a questionable spot to just stay in camp. But if it works, I guess.
Лево на борт.
Тяжелый крейсер.
And of course the shots are short. They're always either long or short.
Противник слаб.
And there we go.
Наблюдаю крен и дифференц.
Friendlies are capturing A. Good to see.
Есть попадание.
Attack the enemy.
French Helldiver up.
Эсминец.
Well, that shouldn't have been a thing. And I'm sorry for that. Where did that sound even come from? But I need to sort it out in just a second.
Попадание.
Allied forces have captured a zone.
Сторожевой второй. Верен. Дистанция 6000.
As the title implies, the stream is still slightly scuffed. Well, could be worse. Actually, now to think about it, how many streams are there for the remainder of this year? Two more.
A little more effort and victory will be ours.
Цель утратила боеспособность. Противник сбавляет ход. Наблюдаю крен и дифференц. Сторожевой корабль. Верен. 360. Дистанция 6000.
Might have to think of something special for the last stream of the year, but nah,
Have captured a zone.
I have to see if I can do something like that.
Прямо руль. Стоп машины.
Есть накрытие.
Completely straddled an SKR. And didn't finish him off before the match ended,
Задача выполнена.
sadly.
Возвращаемся в базу.
Even though that salvo would have. Okay, for a quick second I'll have to do something scuffed again to fix something else scuffed. So bear with me. And that. And we should be fine. And I do still need to change that image, that scene. Also, I noticed that every time I switch back, it reloads the entire chat. Oh well. Actually, do I have a camo for the Murmansk? I probably do. Of course I do. I've not been using it. Phoenix, let me invite you, if I can. Nope. There we go. And more 5-0 shenanigans will be had. African Gulf is also not great for cruisers. But oh well. Albing 47. Let's see what happens.
Корабль к бою и походу приготовить.
Kazuki 40 vertical marks. That's great. Albing an enemy team. Spokojny 5-3. Murmansk. I'll probably focus on the Spokojny first.
Лево руля. Цель. Тяжелый крейсер.
That's just a Furutaka, isn't it? 5-7. Well, that's not great for us.
Эсминец.
Some reason I thought... I mean,
Боевая тревога.
I am obviously keeping Murmansk, I'm already playing it. But I'm currently playing it for the Battle Pass task. And also because my original plan was battleships, but I just did. I played some battleships before the stream with a couple of friends, and it is in a sorry state right now. Scharnhorst being what it is just sad. Yeah, but I'm not gonna play arcade for months. If I want to do naval tasks in arcade, it's not gonna end well because I'm not good in arcade. Why is it what? Eintracht. Why is it what? Oh, why Scharnhorst is sad? Oh, Scharnhorst itself is not sad, it's more that what Scharnhorst is makes the rest of Battleship gameplay just boring. So, Scharnhorst is immortal. The only way to sink a Scharnhorst is by flooding. Or if you're lucky, a fire to the magazine, but that's never gonna happen. Like, I've played a few matches with a couple of friends before stream, and when Scharnhorst goes down to 28%, it doesn't go any further. You have to knock out its hull compartments, like destroy them, then cause flooding, and hope it floods out. And you can be on the receiving end of 3 or 4 battleships, and it'll take minutes. But the fun part, of course, is that no other battleship in-game is as tanky as that. So if you're playing any other battleship than a Scharnhorst, fighting Scharnhorst, you're not having fun. The funny part is that Scharnhorst has always been like that, but the past couple of months there was a barbette bug that made Scharnhorst actually susceptible to detonations. So, hey, top tier battleships had some variety, less Scharnhorsts, more other kind of battleships. Then they fixed that bug a couple of days ago, more than a week ago I think now, and yeah. Now it's back to Scharnhorst as king and everything else is just not fun. Because you have to fight Scharnhorst.
Mercy.
In the meantime, the enemy has tons and tons of cruisers, including a 5-7, and we have nothing like that. Lovely. Very lovely. Looks like I'll get one more salvo off against this enemy Murmansk and sink it. Please, no, he angles. I miss.
Спасательные средства на воду.
7-0, cringe. 7-0. Oh, and the other funny thing about Scharnhorst as well is it's a very fast ship for the type. And you cannot get your engines destroyed. That's the main part. It's immortal because you just cannot hit the engines on it with the turtle back on it. So you can always go near full speed if you're not fully flooded. And you have really good torpedoes. So what you could do is never repair, go full speed, and torpedo enemy battleships point blank. And they can't stop you. Unless there's like 3 or 4 of them focus firing one Scharnhorst at a time, allowing any and all other battleships to just do their thing, and any and all other Scharnhorst to do their thing as well. So it's not great. That and general battleship compression is also not fun. Like if you're playing battleships that aren't 7.0, you're just outgunned. You're outmatched in every single aspect. Like the one thing that I am going to hammer home about with the next update summary as well is that we've been at 7.0 as a maximum battle rating for 2 years, and Scharnhorst has existed in its current state for longer than that. Yeah, I could, but then I have to first of all play Sharn. I might as well just keep playing Sharn. And even then, I'm not good enough for Fritz X to pull it off. And you have to climb to 5 kilometers, because otherwise you'll get shot out of the sky by VT by another battleship. Especially the American ones. And you have to pray there's not enough cloud cover to obscure your shot on the Scharnhorst. And get enough lead, because the Scharnhorst is actually quick. It's not something I can do. So yeah, I was actually kind of hoping that with this update we're going to have some decompression for naval, but it doesn't seem like that's going to be the case. So at the same battle rating we'll have a World War I battlecruiser, the Congos, that are just slightly modernized World War I battlecruisers, and Nelsons, Scharnhorsts, what was the other one? Colorados, Mutzes, Amagis, all 7.0, clearly. That is not the main reason people hate naval. The main reason people do not play naval is because they get told by big content creators that they shouldn't play naval and naval's bad. And I got told that several years ago and the meme somehow still sticks. Yes. 6.3 ships are definitely the roughest. Although I will say my only real recent experience with 6.3 is the Germans. And they actually do have pretty good 6.3 ships, in terms of rate of fire at least. Not in terms of armor or firepower, but yeah.
The victory is near.
We literally do not have any On our team, there's nothing above 5.0 at the moment. I'm currently fighting at Arm Furataka. Luckily, a friendly AI is going to capture it instead.
Another zone captured, we have the advantage.
It's not as bad as you think, and down tiers do happen in 6.3, as odd as it may sound. There are times where you will not be fighting 7.0s, and when you are fighting 7.0s, let me just say your matches will be over very quickly. Yeah, but again, like, the German 6.3s are genuinely great ships. For their battle rating, they're very good ships. At least I experienced them, you know, being pretty good. With the 11-inch guns, you'll sometimes be cursing about your lack of penetration, especially when you're getting up to it, or even other 6.3 battleships. But the 12-inch guns lack armor a bit, but gun performance is decent. The Flinger looks really good, but I still have to get it myself as well.
Цель. Эсминец.
Come on. Should be safe from the enemy cruisers for the time being. I'm literally one hit away from getting sunk.
Лево руля.
Опасно малая глубина прямо по курсу.
Стоп, машины.
But yeah, anyways, the one thing I think they really need to do for naval is to decompress it. It is... Naval compression is genuinely the worst in the game, and I will fight people for it. Like, I've once said in some Discord chat somewhere that naval is the worst compressed, and somebody brought up, I think, air. And genuinely no. Air is nowhere near as badly compressed as top tier naval is. But yeah. And also, hello, the stream hasn't been too scuffed. I have made one critical mistake, which means I'm not actually streaming in 1440p, but next week perhaps. Also got a little bit scuffed with notifications. I think I got a Discord notification earlier, which played on stream, which was not great. Other than that, surprisingly little scuff. Surprisingly little scuff.
Есть попадание.
Why is it gearing not shooting? Because his front turrets are out, that's why. I think... Come on, can I just hit that forward engine room on it? There goes my ship. Oh, there goes the gearing as well. Yeah, well, I maybe wouldn't go that far, but it is like the equivalent I brought up in that conversation then was pitting an F-16 against a Sabre. That's pretty much what you're dealing with in terms of compression.
Покинуть корабль.
Эсминец. Спереди. Дистанция 5000.
Боевая тревога. Лево на борт.
Руль лево на борту.
Прямо руль.
Руль прямо.
Есть накрытие. Перелет.
Yeah. Well, it all depends about crew layout, Halo. Sure, the ammo rack is deep. I haven't actually looked at the engines of Rodney, or how deep underwater they are. And the armor model of it was incomplete on the devserver. But it all depends on what its final armor layout is and where the crew is. Because the only reason Scharnhorst is that hard to kill is because it doesn't have all of its crew in easy-to-reach crew compartments. I think only 70-ish% is crew, you know, above the Citadel. And the further 30% is like 25% in the engines, which are just impenetrable. That's the only reason Scharnhorst is that hard to kill, because 25% of its crew is in the engines. Let's try and at least complete this mission before seeing if I can end the stream. Yeah, I think we'll just complete this mission. Depends, Halo. Depends. It's really, really hard to estimate the survivability of a ship before it reaches live. Because whilst you can speculate, okay, the ammo rack is very low, you won't get ammo wrecked. Engines are decently protected, that might not be a problem. You don't know. You might find it's actually relatively susceptible to stuff. Also, I'm going to read the chat message soonish. They are, but you need a ship of torps at that battle rating, which not a lot of them have. No battleship, other than Scharnhorst itself, has good torpedoes. Yeah, PT boats do, but you're not going to... The problem I have with spawning PT boats to counter a battleship is what you're doing is you're depriving your team of heavy guns. Only to maybe counter one of theirs. If you don't get shot by any, you get shot by the Scharnhorst before getting there, and if the Scharnhorst doesn't just dodge your torpedoes. It is not a counter. I will say I do actually kind of like this camo on Murmansk. Gives a good old wintry cold feel about it. Also, this is a map where you launch a plane. Drop the dead weights. Turn towards the cap. And level off. Let it do its thing. Yeah, an ABDR, but I'm not playing arcade. That is one thing I should probably actually add more, especially when I'm doing reviews, is I don't play arcade. All my views, all my opinions, all my experience is purely from realistic battles. No, Phoenix, I have tried. I do not like arcade. I cannot deal with it. I cannot deal with the aircraft, the torpedoes, the faster speed. It is, yeah, it is better for crew speed, but I don't care, Phoenix. I just don't. Most of my naval crews are pretty decently leveled anyways. I just simply don't care. I do not like naval arcade enough to consider it for, ooh, triple the naval, the crew XP. I just, no. There's not a good enough argument for me to play arcade. I don't think I'll get hit too hard, so I'm just going to focus on flying the plane for now. Still.
100 meters. Destroy the target.
That's going to be the enemy heavy cruisers close to you. Let's have ourselves a little bit of a Kingfisher fight. You know, this is one of those situations where actually keeping the bombs would have been a good idea. Because the enemy plane, if he hasn't noticed me, might actually go for a landing first. Ship still seems fine. And it seems we're gonna have ourselves a little fight out of the ISTU, unless he's going for the landing anyways. Doesn't seem like it. Don't overheat the gun. Sorry, that's in. So that's in. Come on. Get these controls right. Deploy the combat flaps. There goes his main float. That's great for me. Means he can't really contest the cap anymore.
Take him down.
I haven't had that bug yet. I've heard several people complain about the uncancelable repairs, but I haven't had that bug yet.
Allied forces have captured the zone.
And I will claim the title of the better Kingfisher pilot in that fight.
Another zone captured. We have the advantage.
If I wasn't so rudely interrupted by the HAVT shell, I would have been fine.
Есть попадание. Право на борт. Прямо руль.
Есть накрытие. Легкий крейсер. Дистанция 11 000.
I mean,
Машины.
not particularly. Because, well, other than the fact that Repulse is a lower battle rating, there's no real reason to get it if you already have renown. Float plane might be cool. The Nelson should... not Nelson, the Rodney should also be getting a float plane. So... yeah.
Есть накрытие. Есть поражение.
I'm picking a fight with a relatively dangerous opponent.
Противник справляет ход. Наблюдаю крен и дифферент.
Малый.
I do want to briefly mention, and I'm sorry but I cannot pronounce your username, or your name, but the new French light cruiser, La Galissonière, has a catapult on the rear turret with a functional float plane on it. And I believe when I test drove the Rodney on the dev server, it also did have a float plane. Just because it's on a turret doesn't mean it can't have a float plane.
Есть поражение.
The funny part though is that the float plane catapult on La Galissonière doesn't work because the catapult is facing backwards compared to the turret. And you cannot lock the turrets, so you can never align your catapult with your gun sight. You know, like you have to do for this, where the catapult follows your gun sight. You can't do that on that French new cruiser because, well, your gun rotates the opposite direction. Which was pretty funny.
Угроза столкновения.
What's that bomber being launched? It's a plane.
Самый полный.
Эсминец. Терен 340. Дистанция 6000.
Лево на борт.
Руль лево на борту.
Yeah, it is weird that they have different battle ratings, but again, that's, I think, down to compression.
Докладывает радиорубка. На радаре штурмовик. Спереди!
Attack the A point.
What is that enemy aircraft doing up there? PBJ. PBJ is a bit of a unique choice. We've got a Liverpool with us as well. That's an RS2U, so that's not something I really have to focus, but then again, PBJ has already been shot down.
Лево руля. Все машины назад.
Then we have the gun arc for it, kind of. Not gun arc, the shell arc? Well, not really. Gonna slow down, let this other Omaha pass me, and turn hard right.
Угроза столкновения!
An O3U, you don't see those very often. Oh, what ship launches those again?
Enemy forces have captured a zone.
The Phantom launches those? What?
Цель. Тяжелый крейсер.
Oh, the Atlanta's in B. Yeesh. I was already wondering where the Atlanta went.
Дистанция 8000.
It being in B is not great for us because it definitely has a shell ballistics. You just slightly lob them over these islands. Whilst we do not. Unless I specifically aim for the turrets, of course.
Captured a zone.
Дистанция 3000. Есть накрытие. Есть накрытие.
This is not going to be great. I'm going to swap to HE to try and knock out the torpedo launchers on this Omaha. Because I am just going to be pushing straight into them, and that's not going to be great for me. Where are they? Where are they? Where are they? There they are. No. No torpedo launchers for you.
Легкий крейсер.
My main concern is going to keep those torpedoes knocked out. Until I can push and torpedo him in return. Yep, he's already running. Oh, second Omaha, hello. There go your torpedoes. I'm only going to launch one torpedo at him because it seems overkill to launch more. Torpedoes clear.
Опасно малые бугуна прямо по курсу. Угроза столкновения!
He launched his torps, but it was too late. Mine made comp, and of course I don't have my torpedo chips on that side.
Все машины назад.
This guy's still alive. I'm gonna launch one more on this side. And he launched his other tubes because I was stupid and forgot about them. The Omahas have really good torpedo angles. This is something I also kinda hate about this map. I can't really spawn another cruiser. I just do not have the ability to deal with B and C in a cruiser. But their cruisers have a straight line to sea. But we have to go around the island, around this spawn, and then just turn back into sea again. Which I think they're getting just shot up by cruisers in that spawn as well now. Let's see what kind of memes we can do with a coastal. Because the enemy Atlanta seemed very close into the spawn. Oh, hello. Depth charges it is. There we go. I think that's the first time I've seen that kill icon.
Attack the enemy! Attention to the map!
Well, it's only bad for cruisers on one side of the map. Because the other side actually has a fairly decent cruiser spawn. I've ditched all my depth charges already, which might have been a bit of a mistake. So I'm gonna turn out a bit. And my aim is front Amarak. It should be around about there-ish. Have fun with that torpedo. I'm gonna keep going. Want to knock out an AA gun just to bring him to low enough crew. Got one more torpedo. Let's see if we can contest the B point. That's a bit scary. Where did Atlanta go? There goes Murmansk. Where's the Atlanta? Nowhere to be seen.
Somebody attack him!
In our spawn, okay.
Машины назад. Стоп, машины.
Nah, not at the moment. I'm already running a 3-man squad and I'm probably not going to be streaming for too much longer. But thanks for the offer anyways.
Most of the zones are under control.
I kind of actually want to rearm first before going to sea. Also at the same time protecting B a little bit. Because only one torpedo is a little bit lackluster of an armament if I want to try and retake C. Oh shit. Oh shit. That's an oh shit moment. Although... Torpedo away. It's too late. It's too late. Boom! Hammer detonation. And I think I'll just spawn another boat and see if I can get to the Charlie point. So that is... No, you're not. No, you're not. You're not going to capture the B point in that way. Not with me around.
Боевая тревога.
Воздушная цель уничтожена.
To be perfectly honest, shooting at a Kingfisher at this kind of range with two 14.5s is not that particularly hard. But yeah. New Orleans secondaries, New Orleans secondaries. Dodge and weave, dodge and weave. We're good. We're fine. But yeah, that was 3 blue water kills in 1 PT boat. Oh shit. That guy is coming for me. Well, pop go your wings, I guess. That... I'm surprised I did that much damage with these guns. I'm a little bit paranoid about a second floatplane going to be. We're not out of the woods yet. Battle isn't over until it's actually over, and that's... And there we go. Game's over. Thank God. Now, that is one of the possible uses of coastal spawn. But not one you'll see commonly, I think. Just a few more matches to go. And off we go again. I will say GG as well, because he's being a good sport. Yeah, that was actually a pretty fun game. Made a mistake fighting those Omahas over my torpedoes. Yeah, the Omahas have really good torpedo angles. Need to keep that in mind. And it also goes to show that if you're winning, it doesn't mean you should just be going for their spawn in naval. Because if that Atlanta would have still been on the B point, might not have kept it. And again, that's only if you really care about winning. Which, to be honest, I personally don't really do all that often. And now we're on the same map on the other side. So let's see just how much easier it is for cruisers to get to the sea point.
По местам стоять.
Угроза столкновения!
This time it seems like a bit of a downturn as well.
Прямо руль.
Yeah, looks like a full downturn. Even better for us. And I'm going to launch a plane at the A point again. It seems I was not alone. Oh, by the way, another good reason why, you know how they said that the OS2U on the Murmansk doesn't have a Russian livery? There's the British one, which most certainly did have a British livery, and yet it also has the American livery on it. And let's see, do the enemies have any float planes up? Not that I can spot. I've also kept the bombs on me for the possibility of them having a float plane capturing on or landing on the A point. The ship is still doing fine. I love this small formation of flying of OSTUs. There is an enemy cruiser over there. It seems to be an Omaha to me as well.
Enemy forces have captured a zone.
And let's start our descent. The A point is a fairly big capture point, so I don't have to be that slow to getting onto it. But I do want to be careful about not ripping off my wing or all my floats, really. This thing does have landing flaps. Flaps blocked at high speed, going 170. Good joke. There we go, going low and slow. And there we go, smooth little landing. There goes a quick A point capture. Let's see if we can get these birds back in the air again. And hopefully not tip over. There we go. Slowly turn them around. Heading back to the mothership. And then we'll focus on whatever's going on sea. Now I can ditch the weights. Hopefully gain a little bit more altitude. And back to the ship, just before I hit the iceberg.
Лево на борт.
Какую левую на борту? Эсминец. Вперед. Стоп. Дистанция 6000.
We are losing.
Боевая тревога. Цель. Эсминец.
Вперед. Стоп. Дистанция 6000.
It's a French destroyer, which is actually a German destroyer that they got. And it should be sinking now. You do always have to be very careful about torpedoes going to the sea point on this map, because it is just a great
We captured most of the
alley for torpedoes to go down. There we go, I think I even saw it launch torpedoes.
Эсминец. Вперед.
Yeah.
Дистанция 6000.
Is it a full 20 seconds? Wait, is it 20 seconds between my voice and the image? Because that would not be intended. Or are you talking about a match? Because that's kind of intended. Or, well,
enemy forces have captured a zone.
I don't actually know how long the latency is for YouTube streams. But no stream should be like perfectly on the second.
Стоп. Дистанция 3000.
We're winning.
Yeah, but that also can be because, well, I don't always have an eye on the chat, so I apologize for that. Maybe that's not YouTube's fault, that's me being a little bit slow. Where's my plane? My plane is over the fleet. Let's actually put it on a circling route.
Эсминец!
And there we go. There go the torpedoes from the French destroyer we saw earlier. I'm going to go even more evasive to make sure we don't get hit by those, because that would be embarrassing. There's a Moffat and a T-22 behind the rock on the sea point, Phoenix. You are not gonna survive. Unless you're gonna bomb something, which could be very funny. Please bomb the Moffat. There we go, bombs away. And hits as well. Which you obviously didn't survive. You did hurt that Moffat pretty badly.
Эсминец. Вперед. Стоп. Дистанция 2000.
And yes, going back to the question you asked earlier, or well, what you said earlier, it would kind of be nice to have a functional, like recovery mechanic for float planes. Although highly impractical during an actual match. It'd still be fun. Uh-huh. The enemy Davis is the one I saw earlier. So the T-22 I can just ammo rack by shooting it under the bridge. Davis you can actually shoot from ammo rack from the front as well.
Цель! Эсминец!
Стоп. Дистанция 1000.
Do my guns go around the corner high? Ooh, almost. Almost.
Стоп. Дистанция 1000. Цель утратили.
There goes T-22.
Цель! Эсминец!
I want to get torpedoes away,
Торпедные аппараты!
which I did. I need to do this first person because the gun camera is really whack. There we go. And on to the sea point.
Право на борт!
Oh, hello, British destroyer. We remember what we do to British destroyers. Shoot them through the front. And yeah, in EC it would be a little bit more useful. Although it's still a little bit impractical for how you use cruisers. And boat planes in EC didn't really have that big of a use, do they?
Цель! Штурмовик!
I think the T-22 is not happy with me.
Стоп машины!
Luckily, we're a late war fit Omaha, so we have AA for days. And he's dead.
Эсминец!
Disintegrated.
Воздушная цель уничтожена. Угроза столкновения.
Just keep it up, and victory will be ours. We've captured most of the strategic zones.
Лево руля!
Not too worried about a French attack aircraft.
Эсминец!
At the same time, he's trying to climb over my anti-air. There goes a hit.
Право на борт!
I think going back to the recovery of float planes topic a bit, I think it would be cool in general to just have a little bit more aircraft AI for ships. Like, so you could just, you know, command them to do stuff like recover, fly up to a certain altitude, stuff like that. Bombs incoming? Missed. You might be joking, but I actually kind of do want aircraft carriers. If only just to use in custom battles. But that's... I kind of already had a video made on aircraft carriers. It's not my best video out there. It's a bit of a... But it's out there. It exists. And I still stand by it mostly. Although I think that some... It could definitely be a bit different.
Keep it up, and victory will be ours.
I mean, yeah. To be perfectly honest, nobody really likes gas. So, well, for as far as I know, nobody really likes gas. So aircraft being next to useless in naval is fine by my standards. Although it can be a bit frustrating if you have like aircraft specific tasks in naval that you have to complete.
Стоп, машины!
But even then you just go to lower BRs where AA is a bit less thick.
Цель — эсминец!
Brave man trying to torpedo bomb of a bowfighter. Then again, since we don't have any, well, many of the British Fleet Air Arm aircraft, don't really have many choices, do they? British for the torpedo attack aircraft.
Лево руля!
That's something I'd love to see as well, is more British Fleet Air Arm aircraft or carrier aircraft. There's quite a few World War II ones we just don't have. It could be quite interesting to see.
Противник сбавляет ход. Наблюдаю крен и дифферент.
Машины назад!
Just a little more
And there we go. Another match done.
Отбой боевой тревоги! Оружие и...
One or two more matches before getting that Battle Pass task done. So yeah. Should be right on schedule. Another thing I noticed about the dev server for the upcoming update is there's not that I notice at least, any like mechanical changes for naval at all. Like usually when I go over updates in my update summary videos, there's always the new ships and then other new stuff like graphical effects, new mechanics, things that changed. But in the next update, I don't think I saw anything like that. Just new ships. But I might also just be misremembering. I missed that comment there for a second, so let me answer on that. Well, they said they were going to add whatchamacallit, end-of-the-line battleships for next year, right? And I am a little bit curious what they mean with end of the... Let me actually find the direct quote, so I'm not just overhyping it. But I think it's something that didn't they say directly they're going to add all end-of-the-line battleships next year? Which, if that is true, that'll... stuff's going to move a lot faster than it has for the past few years, that's for sure. So let's see, where's that Q&A section? So in 2025, we plan to focus on the logical completion of Blue Water Fleet trees by adding the most famous and powerful battleships. In parallel, we'll work on the implementation of other types of ships and weapons that are not yet presented in War Thunder. That quote is very interesting for next year. But I somehow have my doubt that they'll actually do all of that in 1 year. Like, I want you to realize that we've had 14-inch battleships since 2020. 15-inch battleships were... I'm not entirely sure. Yes and no. I'll read that quote for the submarines as well, but it's pretty much is confirmed as well. But if they're genuinely planning to complete the battleship lines next year, it's going to be a very big year for naval next year. And with the addition of submarines, there's also talks about overhauling water graphical effects, which is about time. So very, very interesting, very hype. But as Nord is joking, to me it doesn't mean jack squat without decompression. But if they do keep to their word, if that actually happens, gonna be a very interesting year next year. The submarines is... So the question was, submarines were tested some years ago. Are there any plans to add playable submarines to naval battles or in some form in the game? Yes, we have plans for playable submarines, but no further details yet. Technically, that doesn't mean they're going to add them next year. Not technically confirmed. But with that previous quote of alongside other ship types and weapons we haven't seen in game yet, it is highly likely. But technically not quite confirmed. Also, I just realized that we're in this match in a full up tier. Ugh. But it's gonna be a good year, I think, next year for naval. Oh, well, good, interesting. When it comes to my personal opinion on decompression, is like just the current ships alone could easily go to 8.0. Easily, and that is just to compress battleships and slightly decompress cruisers. Like, if you wanted to decompress everything, coastals, destroyers, cruisers, and then battleships, you could definitely go to 9.0, if not higher. Another thing that I would really like them to do somewhere in the future, next year of course, the sooner the better, is overhaul coastal research. Because researching top coastal is just painful. What I would currently put at 8.0 is easily a Magi and Mutsu. The 16-inch ships should not be any lower than 8.0 at the moment. Scharnhorst could be a strong 7.7. Yeah, no, 7.7. 7.3 maybe, but 7.7 is my thought about it. Like, I'd say all the most current 7.0s would be 8.0 to 7.7. Then 6.7s could you could pull the 6.7s up to 7.3. Then 6.3s to 7.0, and then there you go. Well, no, 6.3s do not go to 7.0, they go to 6.7. Something like that, yeah. Because in my opinion, the current 6.3s, so like the earlier dreadnoughts, and cruisers can fight each other. They're, of course, not an equal matchup, but they should be able. They can deal. Cruisers can deal with the earlier dreadnoughts to a certain extent. But if you go into 6.7 ships like Nevada, no cruiser is killing a Nevada. So that just shouldn't be fighting 6.0 cruisers. That's basically my philosophy. That the current 6.3s can fight cruisers, no really big deal, but move them away from cruiser BRs more than 0.3. The current 6.7s should not be facing cruisers, so they need to be at least 1 BR apart from cruisers. Or at worst, just 1 BR apart. Oop. But again, personal opinion.
Легкий крейсер. Все машины назад.
Somebody cover me!
Gotta try and go around this fortress to help us against this Atlanta. And there's... boy. Guess I won't be doing that. I guess I'll be joining him on his side of the island.
Лево на борт. Приступить к борьбе за живучесть.
Малая глубина прямо по курсу. Внимание! Имеем серьезные повреждения.
Цель — тяжелый крейсер.
Of course, Nord is going behind the island to hide from the Atlanta, but that's not going to be the problem now.
Прямо руль.
And I'm sinking. Soonish.
Малая глубина прямо по курсу.
There we go.
Let's keep the pressure on.
And there we go.
Intrigue is close.
Спасательные средства на воду. Самый полный. Право руля.
Руль право.
But yeah, getting back to the conversation beforehand, I think next year is going to be a very interesting year for Naval and for the channel as well. But again, more on that when I make that end of the year video.
Attack him!
And I really hope I can make it on time.
Боевая тревога.
That's why I actually kind of want the next update to come soon, so that I can work on both the end of year video and the update summary video simultaneously, as soon as possible. So hopefully it comes out before the event starts, and it usually should, because they're going on holiday for Christmas break, because that's just how companies work. Then there's no real major update until March. So it's likely that the next update will be in the next week. And if it is, then I'll have plenty of time to work on videos.
Keep it up and victory will be ours.
Сторожевой корабль.
The only significant difference is the lack of anti-air. This Kirishima, more than anything, if you already have Harana and the normal Congo, is just a collector's item.
Угроза столкновения!
Or to sell on the market, yeah. Because that is one thing about Japanese event ships, is that the Japanese Navy fanboys tend to be quite avid collectors of ships. So they tend to sell kind of decently. Would it have been better? Not really, because then you get an even worse ship. The Congos did actually get relatively major reconstructions after, you know, during those interwar years. Their belt didn't become thicker, it more become it got reinforced, it got more unified. So a World War I Congo would have been more unique, definitely, but at the same time not better. It would probably have been a 6-7 and then would be the only... well, no, it wouldn't. It would make a lineup of Yamashiro, but then it would be awkward. I'm not complaining about it being a World War II fit. A World War I fit would have definitely been more unique, though. There is one more they can add. There's Hiei. But that's, I think, and I can't actually find it again if it's true or not, but Hiei is actually quite special in terms of its World War II fit, with it having a prototype superstructure that eventually became the Yamato's superstructure, I believe. But I just for the life of me can't find if that's actually true or not. Or can't find it again. So if Hiei were to be the World War I fit Congo, it would be a bit of a shame, because then you'd miss out on that prototype Yamato superstructure. On the other hand, if we got no World War I Congos, I wouldn't be too upset either. If all 4 of them were to be World War II fit in-game, I'd be perfectly happy with that as well.
Аварийной группе ликвидировать пожар.
Имеем повреждения.
I think only time will tell in that case.
Есть попадание.
Полный.
Внимание! Имеем серьезные повреждения. Попадание.
I mean, even if EA becomes a World War I fit, it's also not the end of the world. It would be a bit of a shame missing out on the prototype Yamato superstructure. But at the end of the day, it seems like we're going to be getting Yamato next year anyways. With the way they worded that question. Although I'm really doubting that we'll actually get to the end of the line battleships next year, with how slow battleship progression has been for the last few years. I'd be very surprised. Also, that OSTU just sitting there is very suspicious. I wonder as well, but I wouldn't count on it. I mean, yeah, it doesn't do anything, but it's... As a Japanese fan, and believe me, most of the Japanese naval fanboys would also know that Hiei would be prototype Yamato in superstructure. So, missing out on that would be a bit of a shame. It's not the end of the world, of course, it doesn't matter. But it's... collection-wise, it's a bit of a shame. There's a lot of destroyers out there. Oh, torpedo, hello.
Эсминец.
Where did you come from?
Аварийной группе ликвидировать пожар.
There's permanent flooding as well, so that's going to cause severe listing, which means I can't use my guns. Seems I'm going to be out of my Murmansk very quickly this much.
Право на борт.
You say that, but it's modernized ship combat is actually a really difficult topic for War Thunder. Because, honestly, right, think about it. Let's start with something really simple that I vaguely know about. Let's start with a ship that is armed with the harpoons, right? Name me, or what kind of ship is that? Like one of the earliest ships armed with harpoons. If we were to be going for harpoons, of course, but... And my question then is, when you have a ship in mind, what BR do you give it? You know, don't think about the missile combat itself. Think about the ship that is armed with these missiles, and what battle rating would you give it?
Let's keep the pressure on. Victory is close.
Аварийной трюмной группам приступить к борьбе за живучесть.
And, let's see how can I... Yeah, but the problem with that is, right, if you put... Let's say we decompress, like we said earlier, to 9.0 with the current battleships. Go to 9.0. And then you put a destroyer at 10.0. Are you starting to see the problem? Especially since you also have to realize that most anti-ship missiles can't actually really deal with battleship armor. Especially with how damage works in this game, they wouldn't really do that all that much. So, how would that work? If it would actually be more effective to up-tier your battleships to this missile era battle rating, to just dunk on all of these missile ships? Especially with the way that spawn range is and the maps are in naval? How would you prevent a battleship from just dunking on missile ships? So that's the first problem, right? If you give them a higher battle rating than battleships, how do you prevent them from getting just annihilated by battleships? Okay, let's say you give them a lower BR than battleships, so you put them at current cruiser battle ratings. Well, if you don't give those cruisers proper countermeasures, that's just not going to be great, is it, for balancing at all? Nobody's going to like that. No. The cruiser players that do not have the missiles are not going to like that. So, okay, that's a problem. It's a more likely problem in my eyes than the other way around, but no well. So I genuinely think that missile combat is going to be a very tough nut to crack if you want to go there for naval. And I don't think it should be the first nut to crack, so to say. Aircraft is a different concern, because aircraft battle ratings can be different for game modes, so the current aircraft battle ratings are not necessarily the aircraft battle ratings that we will see in the future. That is also actually arguably one of the requirements for decompression, is to just shove all those jets up to an incredibly high battle rating so they don't interfere with ships. Because that's the thing they can do, now that they made battle ratings separate per game mode, but they just seemingly haven't for naval. Also, this match is just not going well, is it? Yeah, but the thing is, the Bravi doesn't have an anti-ship missile. It's an anti-air missile which can be used in an anti-surface role. Like, there's also a very important distinction to be made between that kind of missile, which is manually guided in, and self-homing missiles. But I think modern combat is going to be a difficult nut to crack for naval. I'm very curious to see what's going to happen with it, but I don't think that'll be their first one. I'm personally of the opinion...
Лево руля.
I'm actually curious whether we'll see carriers before we'll see modern missile combat in the game. When it comes to ships, of course. I'm not talking about modern missile combat when it comes to tanks or planes. But I'm genuinely curious which one we would see first. Like missiles with all the proper countermeasures and mechanics, or aircraft carriers.
Аварийной группе. Ликвидировать пожар. Машины назад.
Because personally I'd actually want to see the carriers first. Although that might be a hot take in and of itself.
Аварийные трюмные группы. Приступить к борьбе за живучесть.
But I think, as with many things when it comes to this game, I'm the kind of person that's more like, we'll see what happens. When the time comes, and we'll figure it out then. What was that message?
Стоп, машины.
The thing is, I genuinely don't see how missiles could one-shot ships, unless they just hit the magazines. I'm also not that familiar with any kind of anti-ship missile, so I really don't know enough about them to know their potency. I know the Russians had some crazy ones, but most anti-ship missiles I know of are not really dangerous enough to one-shot ships. Especially with the targeting. If it's completely random targeting where they hit on the ship, you can't reliably get ammo racks. Engine damage will probably be the most severe cause of damage for anti-ship missiles. And that can do a lot, of course. But I don't know. I don't know. As I just said, it's going to be one of those things, for me at least. We'll see when we get there, and I'll figure it out then. That is one thing I do always want to impart upon people watching, is I might have periods of times where I don't really like playing naval as much as other times, but I am sticking with it. Because there's always some BR that's fun to play, there's always some fun thing to do with it, even if the matches themselves are not that fun. There's fun event potential, custom battle potential, screenshot potential. So no matter what will get flung at us in the future, I will try and figure stuff out. Like especially with submarines potentially next year, I cannot wait to get my hands on submarines and really test them. And use them for custom battles, use them for fun, you know, events of friends. I think it's going to be great fun. And of course there's always a curiosity to see how they'll perform in matches. But I'm not all that pessimistic about submarines, at least. Yep.
Very much. A little more effort, and victory will be ours.
Противник добавляет ход. Наблюдаю крен и дифферент. Цель уничтожена.
Цель. Легкий крейсер.
Берег 280. Дистанция 10 тысяч. Внимание! Имеем серьезные повреждения.
Самый полный.
Опасно малая глубина.
Право на борт.
A 200 kilogram warhead, if that's TNT equivalent, let's just say that's TNT equivalent, it might actually be higher than that. 200 kilos can devastate a destroyer, can do serious damage to a cruiser, depending on where it hits, but doesn't really do much against battleships. And even against cruisers, the damage is meh, depending on how many there are, how many would hit. But it's, yeah.
Стоп, машины.
I just don't know. I can't really predict what missiles will do and what they'll be like in War Thunder. So I think we'll just have to take them as they come. Always love the low flybys. not quite yet, GG. Bit early to say that.
Внимание! Имеем серьезное повреждение.
I don't... you know what? Please elaborate. I don't think it's a bad take. I fully understand the fear for submarines and how they could ruin the game mode, so to say. Although I'm not that pessimistic about them. But please do elaborate what you think would be like bad about them. Well, bad. You know what I mean. Just speak your mind freely.
Внимание! Имеем серьезное повреждение.
The first thing I can think of, which was an argument during World of Warships submarines, is that it removes a service element, and it removes a target for enemies, meaning that the other service elements have much more pressure to perform, especially that if there's an unbalanced amount of them. Like, let's say one team has 5 submarines, the other one has 1. That means that one team is down 4 service elements, which will get engaged permanently and have permanent disadvantage in gun numbers. That's an argument I can get behind. And but to me, that's kind of the same problem with coastal spawns. It's just what it is, although arguably a coastal spawn is actually more effective than a submarine spawn would be.
Истребитель! Спереди! Дистанция 3000!
Право на борт.
Руль право на борту. Руль прямо.
Like that is definitely an argument I can see against subs. Just the lack of one team having service elements compared to the other. For blue water matches especially.
Задача выполнена. Возвращаемся в базу.
I'm trying to think of others. Another argument I've seen pass quite a bit, because it became a real like hot topic underneath the comment section of my last update summary. Well, a hot topic for my videos at least, is how hard they'd be to deal with. Yeah, kind of basically. But you know what I mean. It's an argument that's been made for World of Warships, where it's a bit different, of course, but it's an argument I can get behind. Another argument I've seen is that it'll be very difficult to sink, to deal with, to destroy. And I don't think they will be. The main reason being, one, if any part of a submarine also... Oh, you know what? What's the word for it? I appreciate... I'm not... Ream snipe. Where was I? Yes, the submarines being difficult to deal with. So, what I think is that they're not going to be that difficult to deal with. In the submarine event last year, because that's where I'm basing most of it off, because that seemed to be the most recent thing about it. Anyways, I'll get it in the queue. In the last year's submarine event, if any part of the submarine was above periscope depth, you could lock onto it with your guns, as if any other ship. This includes them just raising their periscope above the water. And in that event, the Fletchers, HE and Sap shells were almost just shy of being able to hit a periscope depth submarine. So, and an argument has been made, oh, submarines will be a perfect battleship counter. I genuinely think that if a battleship were to load HE, or even a well-aimed AP salvo, they could just blow a submarine out of the water at periscope depth. Of course, I don't know if this actually is the case, but I believe it is, if the event is anything to go by. Because you could barely splash damage them with 5-inch HE. 16-inch, 15-inch, 14-inch, any battleship caliber HE, I think will just obliterate a periscope depth submarine. If it gets spotted, if it gets locked onto, of course. which is not self-evident, but still. Another thing is that recon aircraft of float planes will actually be a real threat to them, because most float planes are armed with bombs, and those bombs don't have to be very big to actually do meaningful damage to submarines. That's an interesting thing as well, Trout, about torpedo depth. Again, the submarine event had some really interesting depth charge mechanics, where how do I explain this? So on the Fletcher, because the Fletcher was the best ship in it, you had the mortars on the side of the ship, and you had the rails on the back of the ship. The depth charges on the rails would detonate at a shallower depth than the mortar ones, which is very interesting. The mortar ones would actually detonate closer to the maximum depth of the submarine during the event, whilst the rail ones were closer to surface level, closer, like 30 meters deep. Another interesting thing, which was apparently a bug in the submarine event, which really shouldn't have been, is that one click of the depth charge button actually dropped a salvo of them at a set interval, which was really neat. So you didn't have to be that accurate with it. But of course, with depth charges comes the fact that you have to be right on top of a submarine and hopefully not get shot at by the enemy team. Which, yeah, Phoenix, I know it would require a lock for battleships to get onto it, but again, float planes are also a possible counter. I think even cruiser caliber shells honestly could probably deal with a submarine at periscope depth. Another thing about submarines, of course, compared to World of Warships, is that they are slow. Really slow when they're submerged. And also blind when they're submerged and don't have their periscope above the waterline. Like, the one thing about the submarine event as well is indeed it was like a hybrid arcade setting. So you had enemy markers on the minimap. That was the only way you could really know a Fletcher or a Hoquiam in the event was approaching you, is because you saw their marker on the minimap. That wouldn't be a thing in RB. And also, I must state now, I am arguing from a realistic battle perspective. I do think submarines would be a bit more dangerous in arcade, though I am very curious how the spotting system would work with markers in arcade for submarines. That's another thing that is one of the major, like, they were decently effective. It was not easy to pull off in the submarine event. Not as easy as it would be in World of Warships, at least. But that's also because the torpedoes had a speed boost, because arcade. But I do agree that submarine shotgunning was a thing during an event, but it was not an easy thing to pull off. At least from what I remember. I've lost, where was I again? I forgot what I was talking about before answering that comment.
Дистанция 5000. Угроза столкновения. Попадание.
Allied forces have captured a zone. Let's keep the pressure on.
That is also what I That's the one, hydrophones, thank you. My one, like, negative feedback I would definitely give about that submarine event is that sonar didn't work properly. It wasn't modeled realistically at all. It worked for the event, but it made being stealthy as a submarine very difficult. So one of the major restrictions of sonar is that a surface vessel with sonar cannot use it when going full speed. That was not the case during the submarine event. During the submarine event, the Fletcher could go at a full arcade speed boost at I think 70 kph, 80 kph, and still use its sonar perfectly well. Which is not how passive sonar works. That as well is like... And the thing about passive sonar as well, and that did work properly during the event, the sonar was based over the amount of noise generated by the submarines. The one complaint I have though is that the submarines had to practically be stationary in order not to have their sound be heard by the Fletchers. It was really, you had to go really slowly to not be heard. But it did work, and I did actually pull it off to slip underneath Fletchers. And that's kind of a really fun thing about submarines if you're kind of like that kind of gameplay. It's just the cat and mouse, just hiding, being stealthy, just trying to slip through the defenses. It was really fun during that event, and I really wish I did it again this year, but no well. Also, I'm just going all the way to this island because Shimakaze spawned over there, and he definitely dropped a salvo of torpedoes. I'm personally not a fan of the idea of homing torpedoes. Wake homing especially, although there were countermeasures for that. I don't like the idea of homing torpedoes. What I would like to see for submarines, and for any ship really, because it does apply to more ships than just submarines, is the ability to set the course of your torpedo independent from where the launcher is looking. That is a thing that actually was a thing on other torpedoes, even ship-launched ones. Like, the reason the Japanese ships had very bad forward firing arcs, well, let me say it differently. The really bad forward firing arcs on the Japanese cruisers did not impede their forward firing torpedoes. Because you can just, you know, you can set the course with, I think, a gyroscope in the torpedoes, or by changing their rudders or whatever. I'm not actually too familiar with that, how that actually works. But yeah, that's the thing you can do. And that kind of mechanic wasn't a thing during the event. And I would like to see that for submarines, because it'll make their life a little bit easier. But, oh well. It wouldn't be a deal breaker if it wasn't a thing. But it would make submarines a little bit easier to use if it was. And if it was a mechanic extended to other torpedo ships, fine as well. Also, I wouldn't be quite sure how you'd model it.
Just a little more effort, and victory will surely be ours.
Yeah, there's quite a few modern coastal frigates with anti-submarine torpedoes. Basically any post-war destroyer and frigate was anti-submarine based. So they'll have a lot of anti-submarine weapons and homing torpedoes. I don't think they're necessary to deal with submarines in-game. Especially because they're not modern missile submarines and modern homing torpedo submarines. I think if submarines were to get homing torpedoes, having homing torpedoes counter them would be fine. Especially with noisemakers being a thing that actually works in-game already. That's fine. I'd be fine with that mechanic. But I wouldn't be fine if one had them but the other didn't. And with against most, like, World War II submarines, I don't think that are necessary either. Although, if they were to get noisemakers, maybe? The thing with a lot of these advanced weapon systems, I'm fine with them, as long as they have proper countermeasures. If you can fight against them, fine with it. And if everyone can fight against them. Because nothing's more annoying than having a certain mechanic, and because your ship and your ship alone is just a particular model or a particular make, not being able to counter it, it's annoying. And that's also one of my biggest fears with missiles. Is that some ships will be able to counter them very well, others won't, and that's a mechanic I don't like. Or a scenario I don't want to see.
Let's keep the pressure on. Victory is close.
This either you can't really ammo rack, so I won't.
Легкий крейсер.
I can't. Really, I wanted to. Gonna launch some troops ahead. I'm gonna. Ooh, yeah, that's. I should have done it earlier. Although those torpedoes might actually go for it as well. Torpedo away.
Эсминец.
I want to turn the other way, but I think. Yeah, I'm not gonna be able to turn around before I sink, I think.
Легкий крейсер.
And there, yeah, there I go. I'm gonna be sinking very soon. There we go. The torpedoes are away. Not specifically aimed at the Atlanta, but they might hit the Atlanta.
На воду.
I think this game is gonna be over very soon.
Лево на борт.
Thank God I still have spawn protection. That would have been so annoying if that actually killed me. And those are Shimakaze torpedoes, by the way. Ah, jeez.
Противник уничтожен. Курс на борт.
Ooh, okay. Spawn protection for the win. Also, I completely read over your last comment there, chat. I think sub should be limited firing torpedoes at periscope depth. Interestingly enough, how torpedoes worked in the event, I think you could launch them at a depth of 20 meters, but they would go up to your set depth, which for arcade, of course, depends on your target. One game away from getting task. So what would happen was, now I'm just going to show this. You could launch your torpedo from 20 meters deep, but it would go up to 1 meter depth. They just automatically would do that. And I don't see a real way of that changing. It is also actually kind of an interesting mechanic, that the fact that they can launch below periscope depth, but the torpedo will go to surface level roughly. Because that could mean that if you're in a very well organized squad and you have very good torpedo aiming, if you had a squad member just constantly call out a target for your team and it would get lit up on a minimap, you could technically torpedo a ship without ever surfacing, without ever letting yourself be known. But you'd need to be really good with torpedoes. Which, if anything, I'm not against that being a possibility. Although it would be a little bit cheesy for a teammate to just constantly ping an enemy like that. But yeah, that is also an interesting question, is what will a submarine do if it runs into another submarine? Which, I don't know, really. There was indeed, I was thinking of that as well, there was one case of a submarine torpedoing another submarine below the water, right? Although, was it actually submerged? Were they both submerged at that time? Oh, actually, wasn't it like a British submarine that torpedoed the German one with sonar? Or something like that? I don't remember that particular situation. But I do vaguely remember that was indeed a thing.
Боевая готовность номер 1. Боевым сменам заступить.
Угроза столкновения.
Самый полный.
Путь вправо.
Цель.
And the enemy has an Atlanta again. I can't turn right because I have Husa.
Дистанция 11 000.
So I'm down to get there through some space. Atlanta's not yet opening up, which is great for me. I think these are literally the same people as from last match. We just died though in Atlanta. It's very possible. To be perfectly honest, I would find it very funny if it was just both teams, just submarines and then AI ships. It would be kind of funny. Although at the same time, kind of depressing. But I'm very curious to see how they're going to do submarines.
Need backup.
Есть поражение. Есть поражение.
Behind an island.
Лево на борт.
I saw a missile trail.
Цель.
It
Эсминец.
seems hostile. Aha, we have a Frenchie over here.
Крейсер.
Somewhere. For those that you don't know, F2P Frenchie is a guy I know. He is legendary of Fritz Axis and has thwarted my progress with them quite often.
Цель. Легкий крейсер. Лево руля.
It is just another Omaha. It's no different from the Omahas. I will say I do actually like Omahas. They're not bad ships. They're perfectly fine 5.0 cruisers. Their main downfall, like with many mediocre ships, is compression and matchmaking. But I like the Omahas. I have nothing to complain about Omahas. And I will say what I have been doing with Murmansk is I just raking in cell. Lot of SL and a lot of RP. Like this, if you haven't started with the Russian Blue Water Tree yet, it isn't a good example of the Russian Blue Water Tree, but it will be a good help getting through this first, well, a large part of the Russian tree really.
Есть попадание.
Oh, I hate some torpedoes, that's not good. Friendly torpedoes it is.
Somebody attack him.
Because that is wasted potential damage.
Victory's near.
Передал. Есть поражение.
Allied forces have captured a zone.
Because of the list on that enemy Omaha, I can't actually shoot his engines. Let's just swap targets to this gearing. Excuse me? Ah. I got really confused for a second there. But nope, it is not that fly daily. I don't think he actually plays naval either. Now what is shooting me? I think it's the Akazuki that's not liking me at the moment. And there's Omaha as well.
Цель. Легкий крейсер. Лево на борт.
Есть поражение.
Прямо руль.
Имеем повреждение. Наблюдаем пожары. Есть поражение.
That's probably somebody running into a bot at a spawn.
Противник сбавляет ход. Наблюдаю крен и дифферент. Внимание!
Fletcher. And another Yubari.
Легкий крейсер.
I swear I just saw a missile trail there.
Эсминец. Цель. Эсминец. Цель. Эсминец. Аварийной и трюмной группам приступить к борьбе за живучесть.
A little more effort, and victory will be ours.
And there goes the Emmerich on the Fletcher. And the Omaha's angry at me again.
Угроза столкновения!
Feel a little bit bad at shooting at the Yubari for this, but if he's shooting me, I need to shoot back.
Аварийной и трюмной группам приступить к борьбе.
Okay, my flooding is automatic for some reason. Probably misclicked somewhere.
Цель. Легкий крейсер.
Внимание! Повреждение рулевых устройств! Не можем управляться! Внимание! Критические повреждения! Эсминец!
Actually, probably kill that Akazuki there. He is indeed in a Bravi. And the Akazuki hit from me. I didn't actually see him in his Bravi. And I'm out of crew. Let's see if we can maybe stop this Omaha here. There we go.
Цель. Эсминец.
Внимание! Критические повреждения! Пробоины ниже ватерлинии!
Keep it up, and victory will be
And there I go.
Корабль теряет плавучесть!
Just a final parting salvo before I completely sink.
Угроза столкновения!
the light forces.
Okay, that's a friendly Buffy.
Право на борт.
Seemed like a decent hit against that Omaha.
Боевая тревога. Прямо руль. Цель. Легкий крейсер.
I'm very confused about where Frenchie could be. Omaha launched a float plane as well, as a last resort. I think.
Attention to the designated grid square.
That's where he is he? Let's just quickly finish off with this Omaha and then focus our attention to Frenchie.
Лево руля. Право руля.
Противник сбавляет ход. Наблюдаю крен и дифференц.
But he turns in front of me, which means I'll probably boop him, but nope, dodged him just in time.
Цель. Эсминец.
Let's keep shooting at these gearings.
Цель. Эсминец.
Воздушная цель уничтожена!
keep moving on to the B and A point.
Цель. Эсминец.
260. Дистанция 9000. Противник сбавляет ход. Наблюдаю крен и дифферент.
Allied forces have captured a zone.
Есть поражение.
Attack the enemy.
All the way over there, I don't think Atlantis had him in, do I? Don't.
Цель. Легкий
Let's swap to this Omaha over here, threatening the sea point. Although I don't think at this point it matters too much. This game is pretty much in the bag.
Недолет.
Take him down.
And Frenchie gets away for another day.
Grid zone.
лево руля.
Влево.
So yeah, that was Murmansk. Got that Battle Pass challenge done. The next one won't unlock until next week. What is it? Shouldn't be too difficult. I'll probably do the air one by just well, this one, I think actually. Yeah, target air vehicles. I'll just do that with SAT and arcade. What's this one? Oh, that's an annoying one. Oh, well, let's work on that slowly as well. So yeah, Murmansk, pretty alright. Gonna be a very good premium for Russia, where actually is it? It says rank 3, isn't it? Yeah. It's gonna be a very nice premium to just do everything with. Because if I'm not mistaken, I did get a lot of rewards from it. So 8k on that one, 7k on that one, another 8k there, 10k there. Lots and lots of RP. Good premium. It's a solid premium. What actually are the reward multipliers for it? Very solid. But with that, I'll leave you at that. And yeah, so next week, hopefully the update. It'll be the start of the event. And yeah, I'll figure out how to actually stream in 1440p next week as well. Because it's just a simple mistake that I didn't think of. And I'll have to adjust a few other things. Other than that, what I have planned, I have 2 more videos planned for this year. And I've got some pretty big plans for the beginning of next year as well. With the biggest one being a significant computer upgrade. So hopefully, graphically speaking, the streams will be a bit more interesting to see as well. And future videos. And my frame rate will be a bit higher than 35 in the hangar. So yeah. Definitely. If we get the update next week, I will be grinding battleships, probably even off stream. Rodney is 100% the first to get. It's actually between that and Colorado, if we are getting the Colorado. But my American battleship tree is a bit sad at the moment, and I'll probably just... That's the stuff I'm going to be working on next week, is just my American battleships, and my British battleships, just finishing off the ones I don't have yet. And then let's full on go to Rodney when the update goes live. But yeah, that's it for tonight. Thank you all for coming to watch, as usual. And hopefully the stream wasn't as scuffed as I thought it would be. But anyways, that'll be it for tonight, and I will see you all next week.